Here's the other thing that I always talk to guys about. It's like, I'll sometimes get criticism from women. They'll be like, "Oh, well, well, you're a single father, and why should I date you?" Blah blah blah, or it's the same thing, or on the other foot, sort of thing. And it's like, well, there's another big differentiating factor, some of which will come up in some of these Reddit posts, and quite simply, uh, guys tend to make more money than women. We take on higher paying jobs, more riskier jobs. Women take the cut. Like, men play to win, women generally play not to lose. So when you get out there dating and you're a divorced guy versus a divorced mom, unless she married a really successful guy that had a lot of money and is making $20,000 a month, and those cases exist out there. I never ran into them. The vast majority of women that I ran into were bums, they had a lot of debt, bratty kids, like more red flags than a Chinese communist parade, right? But guys make the mistake. Some are pretty, some are obviously interesting, and they do all the right things upstairs. So that's how stuff goes. But the big difference between men and women is men tend to make more money, women don't. Women tend to bring more liabilities. They often bring the kids in tow because they have custody the vast majority of the time. Still, custody is awarded to moms 80% of the time. So you'll have guys that are dads that might have kids, but they're generally not with the dad because moms get the custody. So they're dating a new woman. So you're now genuinely or often spending more time parenting her kids than you are dealing with your own because of family law and how that works out. And then there's the other consideration, which not a lot of people will talk about. I'm just going to say it. People don't like it, but I'm just going to say it. Moms go through childbirth. Dads don't. I don't have to push a football through my body. She does. And for a lot of women, that can change things, especially as they get older in life or they have kids later on in life. Things don't rebound as well as they do when they're younger, if you know what I'm saying. So there's a little bit of that too. So, that's my personal story. Didn't like it, wouldn't recommend it. I talk about it in the chapter in my book. I think that even if you're a dad with a kid or children in tow from a prior marriage or relationship, you should probably stay away from single moms still. The only time that it would make sense is, and I talked about this in my book, is you run into a gal who's squared away, doesn't have the red flags, doesn't have money problems, and probably has a kid that's roughly the same age and gender as yours. Because one of the problems that you'll run into it as a parent dating with a kid, dating another parent with kids, like the whole step parenting thing and bullshit, is that if she's got boys, for example, and you have daughters, for example, the biggest threat to your daughters is a non-blood relative hanging around your kids in your house, right? That's where you run into problems. I can't tell you how many times I had conversations with gals when I was dating that were like, oh, my stepdad did things to me, or my stepbrother did things to me when I was a kid growing up. And that messes with their head big time too, right? So there's a lot of issues that come up. I've said this before, and this is what I get criticism for the most when I say, women shouldn't be divorcing dads for minor indiscretions, including stepping out. I think it's incredibly selfish to separate the children from the father and leave him because you think the grass is going to be better on the other side of the fence. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you some of the stories that are coming up as people discover what it's like to walk on the grass on the other side of the fence, thinking things are better. So let's get into it. These are in really no particular order. Some are good, some are bad, some are very bad. So there's this Reddit page, group, whatever it is you want to call it, which accumulates a lot of stories from people that are getting involved as a step parent. Again, some are men, some are women. So I'm going to, just square it away from all angles here. Can I just go like this? And I think this is probably the best way to share it. All right. I'm going to go to this size and make it a little bit bigger. And if you can't see it, I'm reading it out anyway. So just follow me on this. So this one here reads, update to You're Not My Dad. Okay. Now, I did say in that chapter in my book, when you deal with a single mom, at some point, you're probably going to hear some version of You're Not My Dad, so I don't need to listen to you or something like that. Here's one example. I posted yesterday about my stepdaughter telling me she wouldn't go to the daddy-daughter dance because I'm not her dad. He's already screwed up. I'm assuming he's referencing the girl's biological father. My wife, so they're married, had registered and reserved a table with the assumption that I was taking her. She had not paid because she was worried that, I think SD means stepdaughter. Stepdaughter's dad would interfere. Smart on her part. She also let him know that he needed to pay for their spot if he was taking her. He was pissed, thinking he was going to con us into paying his way. He refused to pay and actually canceled our reservation completely. All right. Already there's like, we're not even to the end of this, and there's already unnecessary complication going on in this guy's life, dealing with the single mom with the kid she had in tow and the baby daddy that's sort of in the picture. And I mean, I never had that experience with a pain in the ass baby daddy, but uh, a lot of these you're going to hear some of the stuff. I mean, for the most, sorry, I won't even get into details. Anyway, so he called stepdaughter to inform her that something came up and he wasn't going to take her to this daddy-daughter dance. She came crying to me and asked if I would go. I said yes and went on to the site to pay. Nice guy, right? That's when I found out he canceled everything. I apologized to her and put us on the waiting list that will take a miracle to get to us. She's devastated, and I was left to clean up the mess as predicted. I haven't scheduled a special day, and I explained how she hurts for not getting to go, like how I hurt for not getting invited. I told her I never want to replace her dad, but I would like to keep showing her what it is to be a good dad. She understands, and we both apologize for our behavior. She's okay if we don't go because she saw my frustration over what happened with the reservation. It's been a life lesson for both of us, and the first time in a long time I got an "I love you" out of her. Anyway, so like I've said before, you've generally got the responsibility of a parent without the authority. In this case, you've got this back and forth of a loser biological father. And keep in mind, I've heard this a million times from these like single moms. Oh, he's a loser. He's a beta. He couldn't keep a job. He's incompetent. He didn't know how to change a tire. He was a bozo, whatever. At the end of the day, she let him nut in her. Okay. So like there's some responsibility that has to come from her part of the equation. So, all right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one-on-one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the courses tab. Newer to the channel, hit subscribe.